Good morning, class. I thought I'd give a brief week 7 lecture video. I'm going to kind of do this in parts and try to chapter this out and make it a little bit easier to possibly follow. Um, Maybe not make it as long as some of the previous ones. But right off the bat, I want to address some extra credit chances. You're going to have two chances to receive some extra credit. I'll talk about that here first. If you look in your week 7 folder, I will show you that here momentarily. Um, you should see a video um, right here that, hold on just one second. It's going through all this different stuff. You should see a video right here, um, guided library orientation. It is a little bit lengthy. However, it's going to be good information as we get into, because we're going to talk about really your last major essay, which is going to be essay 5, your research paper, which you can find some topics and instructions right here. We're going to talk about that here momentarily. And then really sort of the first component that goes with that is your research paper proposal. So we're going to talk about that here as well. Um, you need to pick a particular research paper topic. I think there's like, I give you a list of 24. The last one is really a writer's choice, meaning if you don't like the 23 that I have up there, if you know that you can, if you got something else that you're sort of interested in, that you can find 6 scholarly sources, academic sources, basically 2 books, 2 journal articles, and 2 websites. And we will talk a little bit more where that's initially going to come into play at first. After our proposal assignment, you're going to have to do this thing called the annotated bid. We're going to talk about that in week 8, which is basically the week that we come back from spring break. The proposal is going to be due pretty much the week that we do come back from spring break. We had or summer break rather. We'll double check and see when the actual due date for that is here momentarily as well. But you're going to have to pick a research paper topic to be really able to understand what you have to do in the proposal. And again, I'll talk about that here momentarily. As it relates to the extra credit, I need you to watch this guided library orientation video, because it's going to show you how to find uh, some of your sources through the library, the college library here using Galileo, and some of the databases that we offer here for free, how to get books. You can use ebooks, you can use e-journals, you can use the printed books, the printed journals. Really, 4 of your 6 sources need to come from some sort of a library, whether it's our college library, Jessup, Brunswick, Camden, Waycross. Of course, there's a couple other satellite campuses that may have smaller libraries, or a public library of some sort. So watch this video, and it's going to be up for a while because, again, over the next few weeks, you're going to be gathering sources. You're going to be reading these sources. You're going to be taking your own notes, and you want to sort of lift out quotations that you want to possibly use throughout your research paper. Because, again, keyword is research. It's not just a regular old essay at this point. You're going to need to use your 6 sources, the quotations that you find that you want to summarize or directly quote or paraphrase in MLA style throughout your research paper. And again, as we move into the month of July, I will provide additional information on how to about, directly quoting from your sources, how to summarize, how to paraphrase, how to do a works cited page at the very end of your research paper, how to integrate your quotations, and use the parenthetical or in-text citation. Some of y'all have been kind of doing that with the last few essays. Some of you haven't really been doing it all that well. I haven't been really taking off too many points for that, just because we haven't really discussed that, but I have to sort of, acknowledge you got to be careful about how you cite things or the lack of, because when you submit stuff through our plagiarism checker, which is SafeAsign, which every major paper that you have written so far goes through that process, you're going to get a percentage. And generally, the percentage that you really want to have is anything between 0 and 10%. That usually represents original creative work, thought. Anything above that, 11 to 100, you have to be wary, especially as it gets in the upper numbers, 30%, 50%, 80%. That's where I see a lot of the plagiarism happens. And again, the first offense for plagiarism is a 0. The second offense is you're going to fail the course and possibly be barred from the college. Generally, I usually always have one or two people in each one of my classes that wants to plagiarize a particular paper. And I usually see that with the research paper. So when in doubt, if you're unsure about how to quote something, ask. Send me part of your paper and say, hey, am I quoting this right? Or how can I quote this better? I will, I welcome to read drafts. Um, you know, I welcome that the whole time. Some of y'all been sending me drafts of essay one, two, three, and four. Well, maybe not four so much because that was the midterm, but at least the first three, some of y'all were sending me drafts. I was giving you feedback. If you check your peer review discussion board for some of them, I gave feedback on that. If you went back and looked, I did post it. Um, you just probably had to download it. But I welcome reading your drafts, giving you constructive criticism to make your writing better, to make the quality of the work better, and also to ultimately improve the grade if you go back and make those changes. Now, sometimes I provide commentary on papers, and the student will send back the same paper without changing anything. I basically just gave them sort of the keys of the kingdom, as you will say, and told them what they needed to fix, but they submit the same paper that they just sent me with my comments still on there with nothing changed. So I really can't improve the grade if you're not willing to go back and actually make the changes. And the other thing is too, if you go to this thing right here, it says online tutoring, it's tutor.com. You can use tutor.com. I know I think you have a certain amount of hours each semester. I think it may be up to 10. If you haven't used that for essay one and two, or possibly three, and you still have a little bit of hours left, I would definitely, as it gets closer to turning your final draft in for your research paper, to submit your research paper to tutor.com and kind of tell them what you want them to sort of look out for. So they can give you some decent feedback as well. So that's another set of eyes, plus my eyes. So that's two people at least. And we probably will have a peer review as it gets closer to when this research paper is going to be due later in July. Uh, so your classmates will have a chance to look at your paper. So that will be, potentially having three people look at your particular paper before submitting that final draft. So, and of course, if you have anybody else outside of class that is really good with English as it relates to writing, punctuation, grammar, quotations, research paper type stuff, you can allow them to also look at it as well. So I'm a proponent of more sets of eyes that look at your work. And if you go through the writing process of actually listening to the critiques and, changing what needs to be changed, we can agree to disagree on some things. I mean, sometimes I get things wrong. I'm only human, just like everybody else. So if you are wondering, hey, why are you wanting me to change this? Can you explain this a little bit more? Or maybe I made a mistake and read your stuff and it was a different context that you're trying to um, convey to your audience, but I need a little bit more from you to be able to really understand what you're trying to get to, so we can work together and maybe create something that's a little bit seamlessly better to improve that particular part of maybe it's a sentence or a paragraph or a section. It sort of goes, both ways, right? 50% me, 50% you. So I can only go by what you have originally on the paper. because you're not right in front of me, or you're not in a in-person class where you can sort of describe this stuff to me in real time. So just please keep that in mind. Um, I also do in-person tutoring. I did send out a email about the virtual classroom, the virtual office deal a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully you still have that around. We can set up a Teams meeting where we can go as a group if you want, if you know there's multiple individuals that want to sort of meet all at once. We can try to figure that out with our schedules. We can meet one-on-one if you don't live in Camden and you can't make it to a in-person tutoring session. Or again, we can do it in person if you live close by and you have the time. Um, we can meet down, in the library here on this campus and discuss whatever that's on your mind. I would recommend though that if we do meet, and if it's something paper related, that you bring something so we can, go off what you already have started working on. Of course, I'm up to brainstorming sessions, that type deal, if you want to go that route as well. I just need to kind of know, because I do teach a couple in-person classes, and my schedule and your schedule are probably going to be kind of different. So we just need to work out something that would work best. Tuesdays and Thursdays are pretty good for me right now. I mainly just focus on the online courses and trying to get things prepared, grade, do videos. So I'm pretty much open from 7:30 in the morning to 6 o'clock, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Mondays and Wednesdays are a little bit dicier because that's when I do have some of my in-person classes. And some of that would have to be after, a certain time during those days, before I can really sit down and kind of meet with you if we're going to do something, one-on-one, or even, teams related. But anyway, going back to the extra credit. If you read or if you watch this video, take notes. Again, you can come back and rewatch this as many times as you want as we get through the month of July, because you're going to have to, again, find at least 4 scholarly sources from um, the library of some sort. You will be able then to, and I'm going to have to stop sharing this for a minute and I'll come back. Hold on just one second. Let's see. I will send out a couple things momentarily, or at least by the end of today. You're going to see 2 hyperlinks. One's going to be a pre-test, one's going to be a post-test. Do the pre-test first. And it's going to look sort of like this. You're going to click on the link. It's going to be library orientation pre-test, hit begin. Now, a couple things that you can do. You can sort of watch that video that I just showed you, and then come back and do the pre-test if you want. Or you can do the pre-test and then go watch the video, and then when it gets, time to do the post-test, and I'm going to show you that here too, if this thing will let me do it. Oh, hold on. The post-test will, again, you're going to have a link that's going to look like this. So I will tell you this. The post-test is basically sort of like the pre-test, meaning it's going to give you or ask you sort of the same questions. They may be in different order. So we kind of expect, depending on what your knowledge is already of, finding research and using the library, that your pre-test will probably be lower, or should be lower, than your post-test. It all really depends on how much research writing, as it relates to research paper writing, that type of stuff you've done in the past. Your post-test, I hope, should have a higher grade. The percentages or the grade that you make on both the pre-test or post-test is really for your own knowledge. I'm not going to collect those and give you a grade necessarily for those. Where the extra credit is going to come in is if you do the pre-test and you do the post-test, after you complete those and hit submit, it's going to send me your results for both. I will look at those to see if there's anything in there that we need to sort of zone in and focus on a little bit more in July as it relates to you going out and finding research. I'm looking at, did you complete both the pre-test and the post-test? Because that's going to tell me, I hope, that at some point during those two tests, you did go back and sort of review this particular video, which is sort of the whole point here. You need to sort of watch that video. And if you do the pre-test and the post-test, I will give you 10 extra credit points, either on essay 1, 2, 3, or 4. You will have to sort of email me and let me know where you want those 10 points to go. If you only complete one, let's say you just do the pre-test, and for whatever reason, you either forget or you don't want to do the post-test, I will still give you half credit. I give you 5 points. Most people want the full 10 points, so they're going to do the pre-test and the post-test. Plus, it gets you sort of, again, seeing what you might need to focus on as it relates to using the library resources to get information for your research paper and that type deal. So that's the first set of 10 points. If you do both the pre-test and the post-test, I will give you 10 points. I will put it on either essay 1, 2, 3, or 4. You email me and let me know which particular essay you want me to put those on. Otherwise, if I don't hear from any of you when it relates to that and you do complete this, I will just find whatever your lowest essay grade is, and I will go ahead and just apply the 10 points there. Now, the other thing is the student evaluation of instruction for summer survey. I will send this out too via email. You click on it. Your other instructors, if you're taking multiple classes, more than just mine, should have already sort of maybe, I hope, talked to you a little bit about this. They may not offer you the extra credit like I am, but I like to offer the extra credit because you're doing me a service by answering these questions. So I like to give back where I can. The first question is you're going to look for your instructor. So for me, because I mean, let's just say that you're taking 5 classes. You can't click on 5 different instructors. So if you are taking multiple classes, you're going to have to do this multiple times. You're going to have to go back and do that for them. But if you go, my name is right here, Patrick Wilson. You click on that, you hit next. That's the first question. Questions 2, 3, and 4 really deal with the demographic questions. They're really easy. Which campus or instructional site do you attend the most for your classes? So they give you some choices there. You pick the one that you attend the most or the closest to. What is the format of the course? We are strictly online, so you would bubble that one, and then you're going to basically tell me, is this your first semester, your 5th semester, more than 6? You bubble on that, and then you hit next. Go to question 5. Question 5 is the one that you want to sort of take your time with, because it is a little bit longer. But be careful about how you bubble these because it starts with strongly disagree, disagree, neutral, agree, strongly agree. So please don't go through this and just Christmas tree it. I mean, take the time. It won't take you that long if you actually read the question and think about it and then sort of bubble what, really what is accurate to you. Just be truthful and honest. That's all I ask. If something doesn't really go one way or the other, then I would just say stick down the middle and just do neutral. Otherwise, I mean, again, you have a opinion here. Your opinion and concerns matter. So make sure that you bubble the stuff that really apply to that question. But again, just don't. Some folks go in here and just they want to go ahead and just badmouth folks for the sake of badmouthing because they can do it and they can hide behind the screen. I mean, just be honest. That's all I'm asking y'all to do. I'm not really gonna know per se what you answered, how you answered this until after the grades are submitted in the summer. So you don't have to worry about, oh, he's going to know, maybe I scored him really, really low and he's going to come back and, give me a bad grade. I don't see these until way into the fall semester. So unless you put your name on really what needs to be questions 6 and 7, whoever made this missed the number, then I'm not going to know. I'm just going to know because let's say there's 20 people in the class. If I see 20 items there, then I know each one of y'all at least done it. If there's only 15, then I know that only 15 out of the 20 have done it. So I don't know who's done it, who hasn't done it that way until, later. And even then, when I get it, it still comes in as anonymous. So don't worry. If you've heard rumors, well, they're just going to use that against me as it relates to my final grade. No, I don't believe in that stuff. Um, but do take your time to go through this. Again, these boxes, you can type some stuff there if you want. You don't have to. It's up to you. Um, Again, unless you just put your name there, nobody's really going to know it was you. And then what I want you to do is after you hit submit, I want you to take a screenshot of the screen that it takes you to. I know the screen where it takes you to, so I know if it's going to be, if you come up and give me a different screen or something, I know it's going to not be the screen. So at least after you hit submit, take the screenshot and then email me that screenshot that it pops up after you hit submit, and I will give you another 10 points either toward essay 1, 2, 3, or 4. The problem is I can't double up, meaning I can't give you 20 points all in one essay. So I'd have to split it up 10 and 10. So if you get 10 points on essay 4, I can't give you another 10 points on that essay. So if you can get that in, both of these, by the time we come back from summer break, which will be by July 8th, that's a Monday, then again, I will honor that and give you those points. So please be able to do that because I want to help you, especially as we get into our last month, because we're only going to have that month of July to knock out the proposal, the annotated bibs, the research paper, and since we already did the respondus, which I still have to go back and grade, there was I think maybe two, maybe three people that just didn't do it for whatever reason. We won't necessarily have a formal um, final exam because you already did sort of that respondus event, and we only have to do one of those a semester if you're strictly online. Um, all right, so what I want to do is sort of end it here with the extra credit. I will kind of come back momentarily and talk about the proposal and the actual research paper assignment. All right, welcome back. We're going to talk a little bit about the actual research paper as it relates to the directions and the topics. Then we're going to look at the actual assignment that's going to be due, and we're going to double check that to see when that's going to be due here momentarily. So let's go ahead and look at the simple syllabus just so that we're all clear on when this thing is going to be due. Momentarily. Let's see. All right, welcome back. We're going to talk a little bit about the actual research paper as it relates to the directions and the topics. Then we're going to look at the actual assignment that's going to be due, and we're going to double check that to see when that's going to be due here momentarily. So let's go ahead and look at the simple syllabus just so that we're all clear on when this thing is going to be due. Momentarily. Let's see here. All right. Let's see when this thing is going to be due. Let me stop sharing here momentarily. I want to make sure that um, the sound is actually working like it needs to. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it don't. All right. So again, we're looking back here at our course Blackboard page. We're going to look at simple syllabus first, to look at some deadlines coming up. So we're going to look here at the course schedule. All right. So if you look, you have a little bit of time. Actually, your proposal is not going to be due until the 11th of July. That's a Thursday, by the way. Um, I will have a Dropbox going into week 8 um, a little bit sooner. So if you want to go ahead and submit the proposal as we get closer to the 11th of July, you can do so. You don't have to wait, obviously, until the due date for this. It really should be, I hope, a quick, easier assignment. Usually, the proposal is one of the easier assignments for the class. The annotated bib, which, as you can tell, is going to be due on the 18th of July, which again, that's a Thursday. That's a little bit more of it's technical in a way. I will show you how to set that stuff up, the format that you really need to kind of use that will help you and help your grade, keep things organized. The annotated bib is usually a little bit more demanding, and it can be kind of a challenge if you don't follow instructions. It could be one of the more difficult assignments in the class, but we will work through it. Again, when we come back on the 8th, the week of the 8th, I will have a uh, video for that week that will really talk about the annotated bib in more detail, and it will talk a little bit more about how to quote, how to paraphrase, how to summarize using the MLA 9 citation format, works cited page, all that stuff. Our last peer review will be the 25th of July. That's going to be with your research paper. That's another Thursday. So it looks like a lot of stuff is going to be on Thursdays here coming back. So sort of keep that deadline in mind. There might be a little bit of wiggle room, meaning I can kind of maybe push some stuff back a little bit, maybe to a Friday or Saturday or Sunday. I try to keep it right here because I got other classes that are going to be turning in papers and stuff. So I'm kind of opening my space up a little bit so I can kind of keep one, stay sane while trying to grade through all this stuff, and two, also give you all the feedback that you need as quickly as possible. The actual research paper is going to be due. This is a Sunday deadline, which would be Sunday, the 28th of July. I know it says final exam again. And I don't know what the deal is with simple syllabus here. It wants to sort of act up and jam some stuff up here. So, I mean, really, after our research paper on the 28th, we're pretty much going to be done with the course. So you don't necessarily have to worry about this stuff right here. For whatever reason, I can try to go back and clean that part of it up. I think what happened is they replaced one class with another one, and it kind of screwed up my whole schedule when it came to this simple syllabus here. So really what you have to kind of keep in mind as it relates to simple syllabus is everything from the 11th, basically the proposal, to the actual research paper, which is going to be due on the 28th. So if you look, we really only have 4 more assignments. Again, I have to go back and grade your essay 4, which I plan on taking a good bit, most of the week this week to do that. Keep in mind, if you do have in-person classes, if you don't know, from July 1st through the 7th is our summer break, so you won't have any classes that week. Enjoy your summer break, kind of regroup, spend it with family, friends, whatever the case may be. What I would suggest is if you're not going to do something really, if you're not going out of town for X amount of days or whatever the case may be, I would definitely try to get ahead with this actual research project, meaning at least go out and get those 6 sources that I talked about earlier, right? The 2 scholarly books, the 2 scholarly journal articles, the 2 scholarly websites that relate to your topic, which we're going to look at here momentarily. That way, when you do come back the week of the 8th, you won't feel so compressed, because if you are taking multiple classes, you may have papers or stuff due in those classes coming back that week too. You're probably going to have a final exam maybe in those other classes. You may have a couple more tests or quizzes or a couple more discussion posts, whatever the case may be. You just don't want to get so crammed up where, one, your health is going to take take a hit, right? You don't want to get sick over the summer. Summer colds always suck. Um, the other thing is you don't want to spread yourself too thin where your grades in certain classes start to suffer, including this one. So you want to work smarter, not harder. So if you do a little bit each day as it relates to this actual research paper project, you won't feel like everything is sort of compounding and compressing and smashing you against the wall as it relates to some of these deadlines. At least that would be my suggestion. Again, you're an adult, you know how well you handle pressure, you know how well your other classes are going or what's going on in your life pretty much at this point. But just keep in mind the week of the 28th, basically after you turn in your research paper, we're done. So you kind of have to look at it that way. 4 assignments, that's it. 4 assignments in 4 weeks, basically. And we talk a little bit more about the peer review and all that stuff that's going to be coming up later next month as well. So going back to our folder, if we go to, and I will move the July folder up here soon enough, week 7, that's where you're going to find a lot of this stuff. If you go in here, I give you some additional videos to watch. I would definitely look at these because you can set up your research paper a lot of different ways. A lot of students like this compare and contrast method. There's 2 different methods that you could possibly use, either the block method, which this lady talks about, or the point by point. Whichever method, if you decide to do a compare and contrast, you want to, if you choose to do the block method, you want to stick with that all the way through. If you choose to do the point by point, you want to stick with that all the way through. You don't want to do a lot of mix and matching with the block and the point by point. But that becomes, especially when we look at what the research paper is, and we will look at the instructions, but you basically need something that needs to be about 6 to 8 pages in length. So if you do a compare and contrast, you're looking at similarities and differences of your particular topic, right? You have your introduction, you have a conclusion, that's basically a given. If you look at it, that's basically like a page. If you add both of those sort of together, if you do the similarities on one in 3 pages, right? Now you're basically at 4. If you did the differences on the, of your other part of your topic, that's 3 more pages. So you're looking at right now at a 7 or 8 page paper you would have. The same deal with the cause and effect. Again, there's a video here. You can talk about 3 causes. That's in 3 pages. You can talk about 3 effects. That's another 3. That's 6 pages right there. You add your introduction, your conclusion, and then your works cited. Again, you're looking at something that's about 7 or 8 pages. You'll be able to get your word count and your paper link there. There's also a video about classification. Some folks find that kind of a challenge, but after watching this video, you may like the whole classification method. You can also find additional information in your e-text with these pages 98 to 99 or 111 to 121 talk a little bit more about compare, contrast, cause and effect, and the classification. You can also set up an argumentative paper, and we can kind of talk a little bit more about that as we move along. You can use some of the rhetorical modes that we basically you wrote essays on in the past, like the narration. You want to be careful. You're not really turning this into another story, right? It's going to be hard to do a research paper as a narration, but you can use anecdotes, you can use personal experiences, personal stories, throughout that as illustrations or examples to sort of support your points. Description, again, you want to be careful. We're not turning into a descriptive research paper, but you can describe stuff because you've already written an essay about how to describe certain things. Process analysis, there's a certain way that you analyze stuff by steps, by lists, by bullet points, that type deal. You can kind of use some of that stuff if you want to. And you just finished a extended definition on friendship. So you might be able to, you might be talking about a certain topic that has terms that you need to sort of define for your audience. Because again, I don't know everything. I don't claim I do. So if you're using, jargon or specific field-related terms for that topic, then obviously you're going to have to define those terms for me because just like your peer review, if your peer picks your paper, they don't want to spend half of the time going to some online dictionary looking up every word and what you're trying to mean. So the whole reason why we did some of those earlier rhetorical modes was to sort of help segue into this bigger project, so you can kind of use what you learned early in the semester to help you write this paper at the end of the semester. At least that's sort of the plan, and hope that's the goal. All right, so that's in that first folder. If we go to our last folder, this is really where you're going to find the topics, the proposal, and we're going to look at that here momentarily. Again, if you looked at the first half of the video, I sent out the pre and post test. I also sent out that student evaluation survey. If you do those, and I see that you have completed those, right? You follow the instructions to be able for me to verify that you completed those. You will have up to 20 points that I can split up, right? Either on essay 1 I can put 10 points, or essay 3 I can put 10 points. But if you complete all 3 of those, you will have 20 points that I could put somewhere. So please get that in by Monday, July 8th. You don't really want to put it off, because when we come back, like I said, July is going to go by really fast. Those weeks are going to go by quickly. And especially if you're bogged down with other stuff, you may forget to do this. So I would probably, at this point, you may not be so busy because we are going into summer break. As you notice, there's really nothing due this Sunday for me. I just want you to sort of regroup and really think about this particular research paper, the topics, the ones you want to choose, how to go about answering these proposal questions, which we're going to look at here right now. So let's look at the actual paper topics and instructions, and then we will look at the proposal. Now, I'm not going to read through all of these because there's a lot of topics. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. I know you can read. This really should say July, not December. That's on me. But it's pretty much the same deal. You're going to use MLA 9 format. You want to double space everything. Some of you are losing points still because you're not following the proper essay format. You're not indenting paragraphs. You're not double spacing everything. You're not using Times New Roman 12 font. You're not putting your last name and page number in the upper top right hand corner of every page. So please don't. Those are really give me points. Just follow the format for what we talked about in week 1 and week 2. There's templates in Microsoft Word. I showed that in that particular video that I did on the format. You can go to YouTube and find other videos about MLA format if you like, but please follow the format. This needs to be 6 to 8 pages or 1,500 to 2,000 words with at least 6 scholarly sources. Again, 2 scholarly books, 2 scholarly journal articles you need to get from some library, whether it's a college library, our library, or a public library. Your other 2 sources need to be scholarly in nature, but they can come from websites. And then your very last page will be a separate page, will be your works cited. That doesn't count in the length of the paper. So if you end on page 8, your works cited page is technically page 9. So kind of keep that in mind. When I say 6 to 8 pages, I want 6 to 8 pages of substance. You can't just end on page 5 and then say, oh, well, I'll give you the works cited page on page 6. I have 6 pages. No, technically you have 5, because that's where your meat and potatoes are as it relates to the paragraphs and the substance. So again, you got 24 topics. The first 23 are really relevant within the last 20 years or so. So I know if you pick one of these first 23, if you really take it seriously, you will find at least 6 sources on each one of these topics, maybe more. Usually what I try to tell students is you probably want to overshoot, meaning I would try to find 12 sources and then narrow down to your best 6, if time allows, if that's a possibility. It's better to have a little bit more than a little less when it comes to writing a research paper. So again, You can go through these 23. If there's one in particular you still need a little bit more clarification on, please email me before you submit the proposal on the 11th. Because by the time you submit the proposal in, uh, you can sort of flip flop back and forth between topics at this point. That's why I'm giving you over the summer break. I'm giving you the rest of this week and a good bit of the week that we come back to kind of think about what topic you really want to do, what you want to write about. Can you get at least 6 pages? Can you find 6 scholarly sources? Giving you that time to also kind of hit the libraries and do some research on your own. Because after the 11th, once you turn that proposal in, whatever you put in that proposal as your topic, you're married to that until the paper is due. Because it's not going to be really intelligent to be flip-flopping back in the middle of July, because let's say that you chose number one at first, homelessness, who is to blame, and then all of a sudden July 14th, after you turn the proposal, you want to talk about how does cyberbullying affect one's health. But guess what? Now you've got to go back and rewrite that proposal because you changed topics. And if you already collected some of your sources for the annotated bib for the following week's assignment, you're going to have to go back and change, get sources that fit your topic now. So it's just really going to be, that's going to be really time consuming. It's not going to be really smart to change your topic midstream through. So that's why I'm giving you the time to sort of go through, pick the one that you really want to do. Again, you do have this writer's choice. Um, Email me what you plan on doing, so I know that you're going to have enough to get at least 6 pages, and you're going to be able to find really good scholarly sources, at least 6, to be able to help you write that 6-page paper. Because otherwise, a lot of times we have really good ideas, and by the time we say, "Oh yeah, that sounds good," and then when we start doing the research, we only have 2 sources when we need 6, and we only have 4 pages when we need at least 6 pages. So just kind of keep that in mind. I need to know if you choose something different before the 11th. Just email me and kind of let me know. Kind of, guide me through what your thought process, how you're going to make it work, that type deal. Because I don't want you to pick something that sounds good, in your mind, and then when you get down to the nitty gritty of having to go out and actually hit the payment for collecting sources, you can't find nothing on. That would be frustrating because now you're going to have to go back and choose a different topic. So once you choose one, you just need to choose one. After choosing one that you're happy with, that you know that you can write 6 pages and you can find sources on, then we talk about this proposal. So the proposal really, it goes in I have a template here. I give you a sample one to sort of look at and follow. Each one of these questions, you have 5. They're worth 20 points. If you look, this was a sample proposal that somebody did a couple years ago in one of my classes. You have 5 questions, right? Well, you answer these 5 questions based on your actual research paper topic that you chose. So the answer to number 1, guess what? Well, that becomes paragraph 1. The answer to number 2, guess what? That becomes paragraph 2. Answer number 3, paragraph 3. Answer number 4, paragraph 4. Answer number 5, paragraph 5. That's it. So if you're wondering, probably 5 paragraphs, a paragraph per question, right? Your answer should be about a paragraph, good paragraph length. You're looking at maybe a page. Let's say if I space this down, and of course you'd want to have the last name and the page number here. But if you're looking, it's about a page to 2 pages, roughly. It shouldn't take you that long if you really like the topic that you chose. We're looking at here, it looks like about 370 words, give or take. Of course, yours could be longer, a little shorter, depending on how much you want to say about your particular topic. But that's going to be your proposal. So, again, pick a research paper topic. do a little bit of preliminary research on that topic, and then come back and tackle these questions. What I would suggest as well, if you can't, because there's 5 of them, if you can't answer at least 3 of these questions, I mean, truthfully, and sort of easily answer 3 of these questions, then I would go back to the drawing board and pick a different topic. Because it's probably going to be, I mean, if you can only answer 3 and you can't answer the other 2, you're going to have a hard time with that topic finding research to really want to write it. That's why I'm giving you choices. That's why you have 23 different choices. I don't want everybody to write on the same topic. Um, because we all have our own different interests, right? It's like saying everybody has to eat vanilla ice cream. Well, you may not like vanilla ice cream. You may like strawberry ice cream, or you may like Rocky Road or chocolate. And the flip side of that, maybe folks don't like ice cream. Maybe they like cake. So that's why I'm giving you a chance to really branch out and choose your own research paper topic. So you'll be able to go through the process. It'll be hopefully a learning experience. You learn from it a little bit more than what you already know about the topic. It won't be like pulling teeth where, oh, I got to do this research paper topic. I don't want to do it. I hate the topic, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if you hate the topic at this point, it's because you chose the wrong topic for you. I'm not choosing the topic for you, right? So you want to make sure that you choose the topic that's going to, benefit you interest wise, curiosity wise. You may already have a little bit of knowledge of that topic, and that's fine. You want to pick stuff that's going to work for you, not necessarily against you, right? Because you're only going to have 4 weeks to be able to really compile all of this stuff together and to make it work. Um, and this is where a lot of folks they go off on summer break, and some folks just never come back, right? Maybe they just drop off, something happens, they just don't turn in the last 4 assignments. Of course, you make 2 zeros at this point, you're basically losing 40 points of your grade. For most, depending on where you're at, that would probably get you a D or an F already. If you get 3 or more zeros here on out, I mean, you're going to fail the class already. Because, I mean, that's 60 points from whatever your weighted total grade shows at this point. And we don't have enough assignments left. We only have 4, right? That you'll be able to pull that grade up. Even if you made 100 on the last 4 assignments or whatever the case may be, you still wouldn't be able to pull your grade from a, because by the time, let's say you get 3 zeros, so you take 60 points. Let's say you have an 80 in the class, you can do the math. 80 minus 60 is what, 20? Now you got a 20. Um, you're not going to be, even if you make 100 on the last few assignments, you're not going to pull that up to a 70. You may be able to pull it up to a 40 or a 50, which is still, it's just a higher F. So please, if you need any help with this, don't wait until I'm grading stuff, or don't wait until after a due date or whatever the case may be. I can help before things are due. And, don't freak out, because I have a lot of folks that, they know they needed help weeks before, and then they start freaking out when the actual research papers due, on the 28th, about 10:30 at night, when the paper's due in about another 2 hours, they start freaking out on me. Well, where were you the last 29 days that, we were doing this? So please, I'm here to help you. I want to help you, but I can't read minds. So if you don't, reach out, email, phone call, come to a tutoring session, whatever the case may be, then I'm just assume that you know what you're doing, because you're not asking. You're not telling me anything. You're not reaching out. Um, so please, if you need the help, you need to get it before things get out of hand and things really start to compile and get complex on you. Especially if let's say you're taking a math class or something. You're going to have a couple more math tests. You're going to have a math final. You may have to do another respondus deal if you didn't do one for your midterm yet, or whatever the case may be for that class. All right. So again, that's going to be due July 11th, which is a Thursday. So if you look, I'm actually giving you a good bit of time. I'm giving you basically all of this week. So you've had since, really, you had since the midterm, because I think this folder was already open and stuff. So the midterm deal was due on the 20th. So let's say you had the 21st. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm basically nearly giving you, counting the summer break now, 3 weeks to pick an essay, research paper topic, to go ahead and start this library stuff, collecting your sources, right? Your 6 sources that you're going to need on your topic, and be able to type up this proposal. So you have 21, you nearly had 21 days, give or take, or will have 21 days by the time we get to July 11th. I would go out and go, like I said, go ahead and start collecting your sources, because the following week, the week of July 15th, your annotated bibs will be due that Thursday, which would be July 18th. So getting all those sources within the next 21 days, give or take, is going to be beneficial to you, to your health, to your mentality, because you don't necessarily want to wait until the week that we do come back on the 8th to start with the whole deal with the actual collecting your sources for the research, especially when you got something due that Thursday on the 11th, the proposal. So I would use your time wisely at this point. Take a little bit each day to do it. That way you're coming back refreshed. You're not going to be all stressed out and tired. And, it's already getting hot. It's going to be like 112 with the heat index in Brunswick here today. So, I mean, you're going to have a lot going on. Get the stuff done now, some of the grunt work, as you would say, and then you won't have to necessarily, I hope, stress so much, or at least be hitting the pavement as much when we come back from the summer break. All right, so I'm going to sort of leave it at that, because that's pretty much all I have. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out. Again, I can't read minds. I just assume that you know what you're doing when you're not reaching out or asking for questions or help or whatever the case may be. I do hope everybody has a great summer break. If you do plan on going anywhere, spending it with family or friends, I'm planning on taking my family probably up to Myrtle Beach. So I will be pretty much in the Brunswick area and at the Brunswick campus on July 1st. But after that, I'm gonna take leave and be off until we come back on July 8th. I will say probably between the 2nd and the 5th, I probably won't be obviously around too much devices as it relates to checking email and that type stuff. I mean, I will be able to check some. I probably really won't be in that frame of mind to really focus on stuff until the 6th and the 7th as we get ready to come back. But if you do have questions, I'll see if I can answer them as quickly as I can. But just be mindful there might be some delay there, because I won't be in the office or near any computers or that type of deal when, on the road to Myrtle Beach and hanging out with the kids and stuff. But I want everybody to have a great, wonderful time off. Enjoy your 4th of July. Be safe, and hopefully you come back with all your fingers and toes, that you don't blow them up with any kind of sparklers or big fireworks or anything like that. All right. Let me know if you need any help, and I will have another video back when we come back on the 8th. Thanks. Have a good one.